I'm Jeff Young, co-founder, co-owner, and brewer here at Brewed Brewing in Austin, Texas. Yeah, so the last time we filmed and talked, I was just starting Black Star Co-op, the world's first cooperatively owned brew pub. And I spent quite a few years there developing recipes, getting the brew pub off the ground, and then at some point started deciding that I wanted to start a new project. And that's where essentially I very quickly met with Susie Schaefer, my business partner, and everything just kind of fell into place for building a very unique concept, having a 100% sour mashed brewery.
I was at Black Star for about a year and a half. I had a similar function. I was handling, overseeing the finances, handling the social media. I always intended to start a business, and he knew that. He knew that was what I was planning on doing down the road, so he just scooped me up.
Blue Owl, the name came from the fact that blue's my favorite color and owl is my spirit animal. So I found my spirit animal, I think probably the way most people do now, and that would be on the internet. So that kind of science can't be overlooked.
I have a friend, Jessica Deal, who does poster art. Jeff and I knew we wanted patterns, we wanted colors, we wanted clean, but then we also wanted the second element, which is kind of the richer complexity and gig art that goes along with the beers. She just synced with us immediately, came back with a couple different logos. We settled on them pretty quickly. It wasn't too much back and forth, but she's been a great medium between Jeff and I when we both have different wants and needs, and she's able to really communicate visually what we're trying to do here.
Everything went very smoothly and quickly initially, I think because of just the general atmosphere here in Austin as far as craft breweries, people with disposable income that love craft beer and want to be a part of it. People really embraced it. They put a lot of trust in Susie and myself that we were going to get it done right. We got our permits within, again, unheard of turnaround, 3 weeks. We had our TABC permit from after we applied, but it wasn't until that we had to get the permits from the city and have our plans correctly drawn, and then have our landlord do the finish out of the space. We started hitting a lot of hurdles, and really slowed, if not killed, our initial momentum. We went into about 9 months of agonizing slowness and stress as we started burning through some of that initial capital that we had raised. Now that we're all the permitting's over, we've made the beer, we've shipped it out, and now we're just kind of waiting for the payments to start coming in, and it's just a tight time financially as we're trying to get off the ground. Opening a business is a very personal process. When working with Black Star, we had a lot of people. The risk was basically divvied out between a lot of people. When starting Blue Owl, when it's Susie and I, and then we start bringing on just a small handful of people, so much of the responsibility is on our shoulders. So you want the people that are going to be part of it to be on board with your ideas, your philosophies, and maybe if you're a good leader or a good boss, you find a good mix of personalities and strengths that you can combine together to make the company greater than the individual. For someone like Trey, who is a much more social guy and can do things like our tours and try to explain our process and what makes us different, I was really looking forward to have somebody who could kind of fill that void that I have in my particular set of strengths. Jacob used to work at Austin Homebrew Supply, so he has a background just in craft beer. He's the kind of workhorse that we have back there that just puts his head down and makes sure that things get done. For someone like Davey, he has a lot of skills that I also have in science and engineering, and can be somebody that I can relate to and allow to just kind of take over certain aspects of what I was going to be doing anyways. You know, at some point you kind of have to back off a little bit on all the minutia of it and allow somebody else to take over some of those things. And that's certainly something that we were doing here with Blue Owl. Kind of the heart of our operation is something that we affectionately call the MIU, which MIU stands for Modular Inoculation Unit. And that was something I designed to try to control the wild inoculation of these beers. So we're taking the grain and using what is on the grain, the wild yeast, the bacteria, and trying to harness what they do and make it a palatable, delicious beer. That took a lot of thought and eventually kind of makes or breaks us. There's a lot we don't know about this process, and there's a lot that we can do. The doors are being opened to do. You have to be willing to just kind of let go, know that you don't have those rules, but you also don't have the safety net of making a style that you know people are already gonna like. So you have to be willing to let go and creative enough to start thinking about what can we do with sour mashing, what can we apply it to. The art side of it is allowing yourself the room to create some new stuff. Then there comes the science for how's that gonna happen. And if we don't have these textbooks on the process itself, engineering books on how to design the equipment, then you basically have to come up with it as you go along. We've hired laboratories, we've done a lot of experiments trying to determine, you know, how to optimize the process, how to get the sourness levels that we want, but now is it a good beer? So now it comes back to the art side where you know, you either have to try to make it work or decide that it doesn't work and move on. It worries us a lot that we are doing something that hasn't really been done. It worries our bank loan officer a lot. When we were going for a loan and asking him for money for the equipment for doing something that hasn't been done before, he simply asked, if this doesn't work out, can you do something different? Can you do something more known? You know, of course we said yes, sure. We could always resort back to that, but we want to do something special. It's very taxing, stressful. The wind can be taken out of your sails very easily. But when you get to the point to where you're making the beers and the beers are coming out mostly like the way you design them, and you see people enjoying them at bars, there's no sensation better than that. That can't be replicated.
The music bed. The music bed.